wind carried a dry whisper across the red cliffs of Arizona Territory, painting the horizon gold as the sun sank behind the mesas. Dust swirled in soft spirals around a lonely ranch, where silence had long since become a companion. Inside, Elias Turner, a young rancher barely in his 20s, mended a broken fence post with the focus of a man trying to keep his mind from wandering. He'd inherited the ranch after his father's death and kept it alive by sheer will. Folks in town called him the Virgin Rancher, half in jest, half in pity. A boy raised by cattle and ghosts, too shy to even talk to women. That evening, a storm began to gather in the distance, the kind that seemed to hum through the bones of the land. Elias tied his horse, set down his tools, and looked toward the canyon where the wind carried an unfamiliar sound, a cry, sharp and human. Without a thought, he grabbed his lantern and rifle and rode toward the echoing canyon walls. When he reached the ravine, he found a sight that stopped his breath. A tall woman, broad-shouldered, fierce-eyed, dressed in tattered Apache garments, stood with one hand pressed against her arm, blood seeping through a torn sleeve. Her horse lay nearby, injured, its flank pierced by an arrow. Around them lay the remnants of a struggle, boot prints, broken arrows, and signs of pursuit. Elias lowered his gun slowly. "You hurt?" he asked, his voice cautious but kind. She looked up, towering over him even from where she knelt. Her gaze was piercing, proud, distrustful. "They came for me," she said in accented English. "White raiders. Thought I was alone." She tried to stand but staggered. Elias caught her by instinct, his hands trembling as he steadied her. Her muscles were taut, her skin warm, her eyes full of fire. He brought her back to his ranch under the rising storm. She said her name was Taya, and that she was one of the Giant Sisters, a tribe of warrior women who roamed between the canyons, defending their people from slave traders. Elias cleaned her wound by the firelight, awkward but gentle. She winced but did not pull away. For hours neither spoke much. Only the crackle of the fire filled the room until Taya finally broke the silence. "You live here alone?" Elias nodded. "Ain't much choice. The land keeps me busy." "You have no woman?" she asked directly. Elias nearly dropped the bandage, his face flushing red. "No, ma'am," he stammered. I never." Taya tilted her head, studying him with curiosity rather than mockery. "A man alone this long," she said softly. "It's not good for the heart." "Or the soul." He met her eyes, those wild amber eyes that seemed to hold both strength and sorrow. For the first time, he didn't look away. Something shifted in that quiet moment. The storm outside roaring like a mirror to the thunder building in their hearts. By dawn, the rain stopped. Taya stood at the doorway, her wound bound, her spirit unbroken. "You should not have helped me," she said. "It may bring trouble to your door." Elias smiled faintly. "Wouldn't be the first time trouble found me." "You're safe here, Taya." She paused, looking at him deeply. This young man who had risked everything for a stranger. Then she said something he would never forget. "I haven't been touched in 6 moons, she murmured, almost to herself. "Not by kindness. Not by trust." Elias swallowed hard. "Maybe," he said softly. "We've both been waiting on the same thing, someone to care." As the morning sun climbed over the mesas, 2 lost souls stood in the doorway of a new beginning, unaware of the danger and destiny waiting beyond the canyon. 3 days passed since Taya had arrived at Elias's ranch, and in that short time, the quiet life he knew was turned upside down. She moved with silent strength, repairing fences, tending horses, gathering herbs from the wild. Elias watched her from a distance, half in awe, half in fear of what her presence stirred in him. She was nothing like the women in town. She didn't speak much, but when she did, her words carried the weight of the mountains. One evening, as the sky blazed orange, Elias found her standing by the corral, gazing west. "You miss your people?" he asked. Taya nodded slowly. "They think I'm dead. If I go back, I bring danger. The raiders hunt my kind. We fight them. We take their prisoners. We free the stolen women. That's why they call us giants. But even giants get tired." Elias leaned against the post, eyes on the horizon. "Maybe you don't have to fight alone anymore." Taya turned toward him. "You would fight with me? You, a boy who never drew blood?" He met her challenge without blinking. "Maybe I'd fight for what matters." That night, the raiders came, silhouettes moving through the grass like wolves. Shots cracked through the silence. Taya and Elias fought side by side, her with a stolen rifle, him with his father's old pistol. Fire lit the night as dust and fear filled the air. When it was over, 2 raiders lay dead and the rest fled into the darkness. Elias had taken a bullet graze across his shoulder, but he didn't let go of her hand until the last echo of gunfire faded. Taya tore a piece of her tunic and bound his wound, her hands trembling. "You fought like a warrior," she whispered. "And you," he said, smiling weakly. "You fought like someone worth dying for." She looked away, her eyes glistening. "Don't speak of dying, rancher. Life is still ahead of you." Days turned to weeks. The land healed, the wounds faded, but something unspoken grew between them. She taught him how to track by stars, how to listen to the earth. He taught her how to plant seeds, how to laugh again. One night, beneath the silver moon, she said softly, "When I told you I hadn't been touched in 6 moons, I meant I'd forgotten what trust feels like. But you reminded me." Elias smiled. "Guess you reminded me what courage feels like." They stood close, neither needing to say more. The silence between them said everything. About love, about healing, about the wild hope that even in the harshest land, something gentle could grow. When morning came, Taya rode off toward her people, promising to return. Elias watched until she vanished beyond the red hills. He whispered to the wind, "I'll be waiting." The land was still again, but his heart was no longer lonely. It carried her fire, and the promise of something that could outlast even the wild. West,